Alright guys, I even broke out the lights for this one because I knew that this was one I definitely wanted good footage for. Let's talk about these figures because these are fantastic. So, the first thing we're going to do is obviously talk about the packaging, because like always, the packaging is absolutely phenomenal and is a major part of this line. I'm telling you, one of the biggest things about this line is you are not just buying the figure, you are buying these boxes. They are so tremendously good. And each one of these came with a story. A little background story, which is actually really, really solid, because the cool thing about it is that each one of these are new. They're a new idea, kind of digging into almost like a multiverse of stuff. This is something called New Eternia. And, okay, so listen to this, okay? The Skeletor box says, Skeletor, evil lord of destruction. Using his mastery of mystical havoc energy, the madman Skeletor uncovered the violent spell that can forge the Scimitar of Chaos, a weapon that collects souls and grants ultimate power to he who wields it. In an undisciplined hand, however, it will bring about the end of Eternia. To be a master of the universe, he must first master death, but at what cost? And the He-Man box says that it's the most He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. The most powerful man in the universe explores the world of Eternia, seeking to stop the sinister Skeletor from forging the Scimitar of Chaos. He can feel the twilight of the world coming. He can feel it in his bones. He must find the megalomaniac, I can't talk. The megalomaniacal madman. I can't say the word for some reason tonight, so we're just going to skip that altogether and put an end to his havoc once and for all. The fate of the universe demands it. And both of these claim to be original designs inspired by classic concepts. And that's something I wanted to talk a little bit about. These are both based on concept arts, from what I understand. Originally, back when they were first kind of coming up with He-Man and the ideas, this is kind of based on some of those character sketches. As far as I know, that's what that sounds like this stuff is, and these guys are so cool. Like, they are so unbelievably cool. Let's unbox them, and let's get my thoughts on them. Okay, so I got him out of the box, and he is really cool. I really like his armor. I like this cape. It's kind of tattered and moved. It's a bit better than the other cape that the other Skeletor had. That's for sure. This is really solid. I like his demon feet, and there was the little part that I was going to bring up. He has the scimitar, which is his Scimitar, Havoc Scimitar thing that it mentioned in that little story. It doesn't fit his hand very well. It really doesn't. At least not the hand that it had it in. And maybe that's something, maybe I'll have to move it to his other hand because he has a more fist-type hand and everything. This guy is very solid looking. I mean, very solid looking. He is really cool. He's much better than I had initially thought. Look, when I first seen this guy, I said I want him. But I didn't know how bad I wanted him until I held him in my hands. This figure is fantastic. I mean, it is really, really well done. And a huge part of this figure that they got me on this one, I'm going to have to give it to them. They got me here. This is already really cool. But he can convert into original Skeletor. And that is where it gets really cool. Because with just a simple change, take that part off, right? We're going to put it back here. We'll put it down here. So I take that off, take the scimitar off. I get the Havoc Staff. Now the Havoc Staff is not as good as the one that came with the other Skeletor, just to put that out there. And I'll of course do some shots and whatnot so you'll be able to see it. But look, we put this staff in his hand here, in his little pointer finger hand, right? There. He has a big old giant Havoc Staff. It's pretty cool. Then I'm going to pop his head off. Head off, which that is a fantastic head, by the way. And then we'll put his other head on, and now he is classic, original Skeletor. To some people, this is not that big of a deal. To me, and I know this sounds ridiculous, this is a big enough deal to buy him twice. I'm not kidding. I am 100% serious when I tell you that I would buy this guy a second time. And right now he's been selling kind of on sale. His price is cut down pretty good. I'm going to double dip for this one. I'm going to double dip because it's going to give me an original Skeletor in the Masterverse design, which I love the Masterverse design. I'm not just simply saying that. I think these figures are amazing. They're so, so good. So that'll give me an original Skeletor, and that'll give me a cool Viking Skeletor, and the He-Man is the same way. That is so cool. Now I'm going to show a couple comparison shots of this Skeletor alongside the other Skeletors and kind of give you an idea of what that looks like, because this guy is so good. So definitely going to do a little bit of that, and we're going to unbox the He-Man and we're going to talk about him, because this is just so good. So next up is the Viking He-Man, and he, just like Skeletor, is phenomenal. Like, it's really good. It is such a good sculpt. I really think that this is so much better in person than I can almost even describe to you. I really like the helmet. I like the way that he's almost got like the hair that comes out the back here. I like these shoulder pads. They're real strong. I really like the extra added armor idea too. He's still very Viking barbarian-esque, but he's more armored in a way that still plays off to, because I've made this argument before that yes, being almost naked is part of the visceral content that the barbarian fantasy provides. It's not just that these characters are naked, but it makes everything they do a much bigger thing. When you could see the muscular features of the human body, when Captain America throws a punch, it's cool. Sure, a guy got punched in the face. But when this guy throws a punch and you see every single part of the muscle work into that punch, for the veins on his arms and everything, there's something so visceral and more real, more jarring to the senses about that than what we get from just normal superhero stuff. That's another reason I really like the barbarian fantasy. Now, this is pretty cool. He does come with a power sword. It's not quite the same as the other power swords that we've had, and I can't necessarily focus on it here perfectly. I'm trying. But I do like the fact that his sheath is to the side. It's not straight up and down like the old style sheath from the classic He-Man. And this is cool. This is really cool. He has a boot knife. He has a little knife that actually goes into his boot right here. And it actually does go in the boot, so you push it down into there. There's a little tab and everything for where it's going to sit, and it actually sits in there. He has a boot knife, and it's an actual boot knife. I know that's a simple, stupid thing to some people, but to me, that is so cool. Like, it really is, guys. It's so cool. And then, of course, because he's Viking He-Man, or personally, that's the reason I would tell you to do this, you should equip him with the axe. And the axe just feels like the weapon of choice here. It just looks right. Like, look at him from the side here. He's big, he's bulk, he's got the axe, he's got the sword on his back, he's got the boot knife. Like, his boots are pretty solid. Probably a little better on the fur. If I'm being honest, that could have been a little bit better. But all in all, this guy is fantastic. I mean, he really is. And he does the same thing as the Skeletor. He comes with another head that you could pop on, and you could take these shoulder blades off, this armor here, and he's classic He-Man in the Masterverse style. And that makes me want a second one. In fact, it makes me want a second one to the extent that, I'm sorry, this isn't exactly a review show. This is just an exploration of my fandom. I'm not taking him apart. Skeletor's a little different. He's a little simpler. And not that this can't be done easily. He's got straps right there and everything. He can be done pretty easily, so you just kind of undo the straps, pull them back and everything. But I don't want to take the armor off. This is what I want from him more so than the Skeletor. The Skeletor, I'm not sure which direction I'm going with him yet. I don't know if I'll keep him as a classic Skeletor, the one that I just got, or if I'll buy a second one to get him. But I do want a classic He-Man out of this design. And it's right here. And so they got me on this one. Like, legit congratulations. You got me here. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to buy this same figure a second time. I'm going to double dip. This is not a normal thing for me in a toy line like this. At all. Motu got me in ways that I've never been got by a toy line ever. They got me here. I'm buying a second one. I'm buying a second He-Man and a second Skeletor because it's true that I have both right here. But once they go up on the shelf, I want to display both. I want that. And the only way to get it is to get a second one, because I want them both on the shelf, not just one or the other. This is so freaking cool. So cool. So, let's do a couple of comparisons, put them on the rotator, and we'll compare them to a couple of other figures and whatnot, just to kind of give you an idea of what I think, like why these guys are so cool. And we'll also give you a closer look while they spin around and whatnot, because this is just so fantastic. You gotta see it. You gotta see it. You gotta take it in with your eyes. You gotta give it a second. And maybe you'll come to the same conclusion as me. The pictures did not do this justice. They just didn't. Okay, so here's the three of them spinning right here. These are three Skeletors. I figured I'd put them up here and give you a chance to check them out. Of course, this one here is the one from Revelation, and he's the first Masterverse Skeletor that was released. He's a pretty solid figure right off the bat, but look at him. That's the classic Masterverse look that comes from this Skeletor. That is fantastic. He looks truly menacing. And then Dumbface Skeletor, because I love Dumbface Skeletor. He's so good. There he is. He's right there. He's going to be making it into a lot of episodes. He's so good. I like these Skeletors. I do. What can I say? Let me back the camera up a little bit here. Yeah, look at him. He looks terrific, man. Like, that is really good. That's menacing. That's cool. I want him like that. But at the same time, I gotta be perfectly honest here. This is really solid. Like, it's a really solid face sculpt. It's unbelievably good. And I'd be a fool not to have that on the shelf the same way. So just wow to these three marvelous figures. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say marvelous. I like all three of these. In fact, that's a decent question in its own right, is I've already collected a good little spot of Skeletors, and there's a real question as to which one is my favorite one right now, and boy, I think first impressions, it's him. He's so good. That face sculpt is so good. The only thing that I'm going to have no choice but to call out, however, is that when I got him, this one, the head came a little bit damaged. This head is fine. The other one is not. So look at this head. This head is real solid. It's fine. Everything about it turned out real good. No worries. But let's take him off the stand here real quick and put him right here. This did not. Oh, Dumbface fell down. So look, I know this is minor, but there's a little bitty chip here in his hat, in the back, about right here, okay? And I don't even know... Oh, he fell down. It's mild. It's a little bitty chip. I could even fix it, but it's there. And then he's got a little bitty chip also right here as well. Okay, so he's got a chip up here in this part, and like I said, I don't know if I can really show this to you, but it's there. It's there, and I notice it, and it's two little itty-bitty chips that are out of that part that make me feel like maybe, man, everybody's just falling down now. Maybe it's a better idea to keep this one as the Viking and to purposely try again with the second one and see which one of these I get as the better head, because, I mean, he's fantastic regardless. Let's check out the Viking real quick before we move on. Okay, so here's these two, all right? And let me just readjust a little bit here. We're going to pull back a little bit. Okay, he looks great like that. He really does. I do like the Viking Skeletor quite a bit, and I think that's what he's going on the shelf as now. I really like that classic Skeletor, but I'm going to hold out, and I'm going to see if I get a better head sculpt than this one. But this really is good. I think nobody would even notice it. I think that I'm being picky because I just happen to... It's mine. When it's yours, you pick up on those little things a little bit more than when it's not yours. The He-Man looks great. He's staying like this. I do want the other one, but he's staying like this. I really like him with the axe. I like that he carries all three of his weapons. He can too, by the way. You could put this Havoc Staff on him if you want, and he actually has a back sheath as well, an area right under this part of his armor where the scimitar can go. And that's actually really cool too, because we don't often see that in like Skeletor. Skeletor gets a little shafted with that part of his characters because, like, look, you have Dumbface Skeletor right here, right? And then you got him, and he turns around, and he can't really carry the power sword. I mean, he can. He's got this little thing on his back, but that's actually his armor where it just clips in. It's not actually where he keeps his power sword. He-Man actually has a place to keep the power sword so he can hold the shield, the axe, and the power sword. Skeletor almost never does. Like, look at him right here with his big dumb face trying to get in on everybody, trying to get in on here on the scene with his big dumb face. And then you got him, and he turns around, and nothing. He's got nothing either. So he doesn't carry his sword with him. Even when you pick the cape up, there's no area to put something else if he had something else. And by the way, big improvement here on the capes. See, this cape here is nothing compared to that cape there. He got it, man. And he doesn't even have the best cape. From what I've seen, the best cape that I've come across in this entire series so far is King Grayskull. Of these figures, he's the best cape I've seen so far. And I haven't even unboxed him, I've just seen it. But finally, these two new figures can be added to the shelf. I got my thoughts out here on them. You know what I think, and you know how I'm going to display them. And you've seen Dumbface Skeletor multiple times in this episode. I'm not going anywhere. And so that's that. That's both of them. They're added to the shelf. They're on there now. I'm happy with both of them. And they're terrific pieces. These are the kinds of figures that, I mean, Well, yeah, until this year, I wasn't collecting them at all. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're very new to this channel, I'm very new in this kind of stuff. I have a long line of history, or just like a long history in this kind of stuff, but I didn't collect He-Man until very, very recently. And there's an entire playlist on the channel and everything if you're interested to see what my journey has been up to this point and what I've discovered and what I've liked and like weird things I've come across and just the way it is. I am really enjoying this collection line, and they got me on this one. These are so good. I'm gonna double dip on this one. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy the same figures twice, because they really are that good. That's it. These two are added to the shelf, and I'm gonna get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.